Something extraordinary is happening. This was an Easter weekend unlike any other. Yesterday, the entire world woke up to an astonishing sight. More Christians than ever gathered together across the globe to celebrate the resurrection of Christ. And reports are that this Easter signaled nothing less than the single greatest religious renewal the world has ever seen. And you are about to get a front row seat. Greetings, everyone. Christ is risen. A blessed and happy, bright Monday, as we call it in the Orthodox tradition. I'll be talking, of course, later on about the death of Pope Francis in our next video. But I wanted to begin with the extraordinary Easter weekend we all just experienced. All the branches of Christendom, Orthodox, Catholic, and Protestant, gathered around the world to celebrate the singular event that changed the entire cosmos forever, the glorious resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. These were the scenes from the very empty tomb of Christ himself, the miracle of the holy fire in Jerusalem, which happens every Orthodox Easter, which occasionally overlaps with the Western Easter as it did this year. Now, keep in mind, just to put this year in context, last year, if you remember, the Biden administration shamelessly and frankly blasphemously declared Easter Sunday to be Transgender Visibility Day. I mean, the proclamation literally reeked of societal decay. I mean, it was the essence of the kind of Caligula-like antics that marked the end of a civilization. By contrast, here's what President Trump posted on Easter morning. 3 simple words. He is risen. And that is precisely what Christians celebrated all over the world. Russian President Vladimir Putin attended Easter midnight liturgy, as he always does every year, at the Cathedral of Christ the Savior in Moscow. These were some of the scenes coming out of the nation of Ethiopia, where Orthodox Christians by the millions gathered across their nation in one of the most ancient and long-lived ritual expressions of the Christian faith. In Thessaloniki, Greece, more than 150,000 gathered together to celebrate the risen Savior. Here in the States, 10,000 students gathered in Auburn's basketball arena for an astonishing display of faith and celebration on Easter Sunday. Not to be outdone, this was the scene from Texas A&M University for their Easter vigil on Saturday night. But as it turns out, this was just the tip of the iceberg. Reports from all over the world indicate that we may indeed be seeing the single greatest religious renewal ever. Let's start with the nation of France. Something extraordinary is going on there. Over 10,000 adults were received into the Catholic Church at various Easter vigils across the nation over the weekend, the highest number of conversions in over 20 years in this traditionally Catholic country. In fact, it's being reported that the French Catholic Church has welcomed a record-breaking 17,800 converts for baptism just this Easter alone. There were nearly 10,400 adult baptisms and an astonishing 7,400 baptisms of young people between the ages of 11 to 17. Baptisms are up 45% from this time last year in 2024. And it was all preceded by this scene on Palm Sunday, the week before Easter, at the Lord's Shrine, where record numbers of pilgrims gathered in worship and prayer and devotion to Christ. In Belgium, a record number of 536 converts have been received into the church over the weekend. That's a 50% increase as compared to this time last year. In London, the UK, there were reports that over 300 people were baptized in a single parish in Tottenham on Saturday morning of Easter weekend. In Hertfordshire, 140 catechumens were baptized into their Eastern Orthodox Church. And in the Catholic Archdiocese of Westminster, a record number of over 500 converts were received into the Catholic Church at their Easter Vigil, a 24% increase from their previous highest number back in 2018. Here in the States, a record-breaking 350 people were baptized at St. Patrick's Cathedral. That's nothing less than a year's worth of baptisms in a single day. At St. Dominic's in San Francisco, more converts were received in the church than at any other time in their 152-year history. In Texas, 65 Catholic converts were baptized in a single parish, St. Anne's Church, at the Easter Vigil. You're there, right? 65 baptisms in a single night. Something astonishing is happening here, and we've got the stats to prove it. But first, gang, if you are a homeowner, you need to listen to this. Let me ask you, when was the last time you actually checked on your home title? That's the legal proof you own your house. Now, if you're like me, the answer is never. And the problem is, in today's AI and cyber world, scammers are stealing home titles and your equity is the target. So it works like this. Criminals forge your signature on one document. They use a fake notary stamp. They pay a small fee with your county, and boom, your home title has officially been transferred out of your name. Then they take out loans using your equity or even sell your property. You won't even know what's happened until you get a collection notice or a foreclosure. That's why you need to stop what you're doing right now and find out today if you've already been a victim. And it's easy. Use promo code TurleyTalks at home. It's just one word, TurleyTalks, at HomeTitleLock.com to make sure your title is still in your name. You'll also get a free title history report, plus a free 14-day trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud should happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. Go to HomeTitleLock.com right now. Use promo code TurleyTalks, all one word. That's HomeTitleLock.com, promo code TurleyTalks. A number of reports are coming out confirming that an astonishing revival is happening, particularly here in the United States. The National Catholic Register reports that Catholic parishes across the nation are experiencing between 30 to 70% growth in attendance. And it's not just Catholics. According to the latest study by the Barna Group, 66% of all U.S. adults say that they have made a personal commitment to Christ that is still important to their lives today. That marks a 12 percentage point increase since 2021. And guess who's driving the surge in faith? Yep. If you've been a regular to this channel, you'll know exactly who's driving this surge. It's Gen Zers, those born between 1997 and 2012. I have been arguing this for years now, for at least the last 5 years, that your average, we have studies that show your average 18-year-old is as conservative as your average 40-year-old today. It's an astonishing development. And it's not just Gen Zers generally, but particularly Gen Zer men. In a survey of over 5,000 Gen Zers conducted by the American Enterprise Institute, they found that 40% of women now describe themselves as religiously unaffiliated. So this is 40% of Gen Z women consider themselves religiously unaffiliated. However, when it comes to the young men, that number drops to just 34%. Now, what's so fascinating there is that researchers found in every other age group, men are the ones more likely to be unaffiliated with any religious identity. In fact, that tracks with what researchers have found for decades now. Women are consistently more religious than men. It's a finding that's so reliable that some scholars have characterized as something like a universal human law. Well, when it comes to Gen Z, that's simply no longer the case. Again, they just continue to surprise us. And it's not just religion or Christianity in general that young men are attracted to. They're being particularly drawn to Eastern Orthodox Christianity. This according to a recent report from the New York Post. young men are increasingly being drawn to a faith that actually often requires months of catechizing before you're allowed to join, before you're baptized or chrismated. So this signifies that young men are increasingly attracted to a highly rigorous, traditionalized version of Christianity. And the result is that we're seeing record numbers of conversions in the Orthodox Church. A recent survey of Orthodox churches around the country found that parishes saw a 78% increase in converts in 2022 compared with pre-pandemic levels in 2019, with young men comprising the vast majority joining the church since 2020. And to bring this full circle, historically, the traditional time for receiving converts into the church is none other than Easter weekend. That weekend, when the totality of the cosmos was incorporated into the transformative death and resurrection of Christ. That weekend, when the tree of life, lost to us because of our fall into sin, was restored in the cross, where God's infinite love is revealed in all of its fullness, willingly and passively submitting himself to our murder and our madness so as to shine forth the limitless radiance of his self-giving love. And the more we mock him, the more we scourge him, the more we torture and crush him, the more we magnify that infinite, unfathomable love. And in his resurrection, we see the glorious revelation that this love that was by all appearances completely conquered and extinguished on the cross, this love is indeed unconquerable and inextinguishable, infinite in its abundance and eternal in its life, which in turn awakens a comparable love within us and thus restores us back to paradise. That is what the world witnessed this Easter weekend. The miracle of all miracles, which continues to astonish and change the world forever.
We will stand bravely, dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun.
Is this not such an exciting time to be alive? As we speak, America is regaining its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, and prosperous nation on earth. We have so much to celebrate already. I mean, think about it. Safer borders, the dismantling of DEI, permission to drill, baby, drill, and $1 trillion in new investments released into the economy. We stand on the precipice of what will be known as the most prosperous time in American history. The only question is, will you be an active participant in the golden age, or will you sit passively on the sidelines watching everyone else build wealth? Well, if you want to be part of the former, then I urge you to join me and my good friend Mark Wilburn at the Golden Age Summit. Mark is a stock market expert whose recent recommendations have led to returns of over 200%. He's an amazing teacher, and he has a knack for demystifying the market so everyday Americans can participate in this golden age we're now in. But do not wait. Seating registration is limited, so click on that link below right now and register today, and I'll see you for an event that promises to change your life.